Welcome to Speedy Walkthroughs, where we show just the important stuff for beating the game. For first time viewers, this will look different to a normal walkthrough. It shows just the essentials, so you don't need to spend a long time watching this video. And today we're playing Pikmin 2. I'll be using the Gamecube version for footage, but this should apply to the Switch version or the Gamecube version, or whatever version you're playing on pretty much. Before we get stuck into it, if you find this video useful, consider subscribing to keep up to date, as it helps out the channel a whole bunch, and I should have a new walkthrough out each week. I'll also mention that if you have a game you'd like to see a walkthrough of, feel free to let me know in the comments. I keep a big list of walkthroughs I want to do, and I'm always expanding. Now in this walkthrough I'll be showing you how to 100% Pikmin 2, so eventually you'll get this screen here, you've collected every treasure, and the percentage counter just tracks essentially how many of the treasures you've collected. So when you load up the game, just start as normal, and we'll get an intro cutscene. Alright, after the cutscene plays out, we sort of spawn in this starting area here. And you can press the button to whistle the Pikmin and have them come towards you. Okay, so we get this little cutscene here. We've got our 5 Pikmin, and you want to throw them onto the enemy. You want to try and hit the top of the enemy if you can, so the Pikmin sort of like fall onto it. If you just throw them like in front of the enemy's mouth, generally the enemy will just eat the Pikmin, and that is not what you want. But you'll also see that as you hit the enemy with Pikmin, the Pikmin will try and drag it back. Okay, so this game introduces a mechanic where you can sort of swap between players. So there'll be a button to swap between these two. And this guy can come across the onion. So essentially what the onion does is it can spawn more Pikmin in. So just like that. When the Pikmin come out of the ground, you can press the A button to pluck the Pikmin. And then you can basically just add them to your party. When you've got the Pikmin, the way you sort of get more Pikmin is by throwing them at these flowers. You can also hit the flowers yourself, like I've done there. And if the Pikmin brings back the pellets, then you'll essentially get more Pikmin. You might notice that one pellet spat out 2 Pikmin, which might seem counterintuitive. Essentially, if you get the correct color Pikmin to get the correct color flower, you'll get double the number. So if we get a red flower with a red Pikmin, that will give us 2, even though it only says 1, because you just get double. So just go and get all these flowers. You'll notice there's a battery off in the distance there. That'll be one of the treasures that we're looking to get towards 100%ing the game. And the whole goal is just to get treasures. So if you're looking to 100%, that's the main thing. You don't need to worry about like bringing enemies back or anything. You're just really looking for treasures. So there we go. We get a little cutscene with the battery play out. And after that cutscene, we can just keep walking forward. We can't actually get the battery itself yet. But what we can do is throw some Pikmin onto this thing. You'll notice we've thrown 11 onto this. And if we go back to Olimar, we can throw the remaining ones that we need on there. Once you got 15, it will sort of go down. Okay, so once we got this, just round up all the Pikmin and we're sort of all together as a big group. I've thrown 3 onto that enemy there, although technically you don't need to bring the enemy back. Sometimes the enemy can just help you get more Pikmin and stuff. Alright, so those guys are going to undig the battery. If you want, you can throw more Pikmin onto the enemy. At such an early point in the game, it's worth grabbing the enemies back because they will help you get more Pikmin. But later on in the game, it doesn't matter as much. And if your Pikmin get into danger and you start losing some Pikmin, then it is good to get more. Okay, so you'll see the enemy just goes in there, and you'll also notice that it's going to sprout some more Pikmin out. So that'll be the 20 that we need for the battery, and then we're just going to go pluck all those. And once we got all 20, you just head back there and throw them all at the battery. Once we got that, just chuck them all on. We can then go for a wander back to this ship if we want. There's not really much to do apart from wait for the Pikmin to bring the battery back. There we go. We get some money for doing that. You can see the 10,000 amount that we're after. That's sort of to any percent complete the game and just get to the credits. But there's a lot more treasure in the game than just what will give you that 10,000. This is going to end the day here, but normally days will end after a certain amount of time. The first day is just a little bit different. Okay, so we get a diary entry, and we can go to the next day. Now this is actually where we were just before. There's just a lot more to do in this second day here. Okay, so start out, you want to go underneath the onion and we draw a whole bunch of Pikmin. And what we're going to do here is just farm a whole lot more Pikmin. So any flowers that we see here, you just want to throw all the Pikmin at the flowers. Any enemies you see, you want to throw the Pikmin at them. And we want to bring heaps of flowers back so that we can get lots of new Pikmin. I'm going to be pressing the button to swap between the two characters and sort of keeping both going at once. That just helps with managing all this to do this as quick as possible because your days are in a time limit. Although it doesn't matter really too much. There we go. And once we have 35, you can put that bag down. And then we'll just get the 5 onto that flower. Remember with your Pikmin, you want to try and throw them on top of enemies, ideally onto their backs rather than their fronts, if possible. And at this early phase in the game, I do recommend bringing back the enemies, but later on, we won't need to worry about that as much. Okay, pluck any new Pikmin that come out. And this is a treasure here that we need to get. So we can just chuck all of our Pikmin onto that. And we can take them off that little wall there. The Pikmin will break through that wall if we leave them on there, breaking it down, but the treasure is the priority at the moment. So we're just going to pluck some more Pikmin that we've got. And it's always a good idea to just go back to base and pluck any Pikmin that you may need to. And on the C stick on the Gamecube, you can actually charge the Pikmin forward into the fence. So you can use that right stick there and you basically just charge the Pikmin and walk them all into the fence. It saves you actually having to like throw each individual one into the fence. And there is a similar way to do that on Switch. I think you have to hold the R button or something first because the right stick normally does camera. Okay, so we're going into a cave. Make sure you've got all the Pikmin with you that you can have. And we're just going to go down into here. Now, caves are sort of randomly generated in a sense. So your cave may look a little bit different to mine, but you should still have everything on the level that I've got. So it'll be laid out differently, but you'll have all the treasures there that I'm going to collect. So I will still show you through my layout of the cave because I think it's good to see how I'm going to be collecting all these treasures. But realistically, you'll have a bit of a different path through. Okay, so I'm just grabbing all the enemies. And as soon as you see the treasure pop, then you can go down to the next level. So there we go, there's the treasure. And we're going to go straight down. So you don't need to collect up all your Pikmin in between levels, they will just automatically follow you. And we're at final level already. Some of the later caves in the game will be a bit longer. We got this earth thing that we want to collect. And you'll notice that all the treasures have like certain Pikmin amounts that are needed to carry them. That earth is too heavy for us to carry right now. So that's where purple Pikmin come into it. You can throw Pikmin into these flowers and they'll transform into whatever color the flower is. So we're just going to throw 5 reds into each flower. 5 is sort of the maximum that you can get out of one of those flowers. But purple Pikmin are super useful. They're probably the best Pikmin in the game, at least in my opinion. They can carry things a lot better than other Pikmin. So when you throw a red on there, it just counts as 1 towards that number, but each purple one counts as 10. So they're really good for bringing treasures back. They're also really strong for fighting enemies. So yeah, purples would recommend using them. Just try not to let them die because they're really tricky to get more purple ones. Once you're happy with your treasure haul here, you just want to go down into the, well, not down into the next level, but out of the cave. Just make sure that you've actually got the treasure back into your ship before you do this. We get a little cave summary, so make sure you've got all the treasures there. On the status screen for the cave, you'll be able to see whether or not you've actually got all the treasures. Alrighty, so after you've done this cave, your day will end and we'll go on to the next one. Okay, so we unlock like a new area. I'm going to go into that new one. And here we go. So a short little cutscene and then we'll get into it. We're going to withdraw as many purples as we can and then top it up with reds. Take care of all the enemies, grab flowers if you can, and that'll top up our Pikmin counts. You can't really get more purples in the same way that you get more reds just by doing more flowers. Purples tend to come from caves and converting reds into purples like what we did before. Alright, charge all your Pikmin at this wall, they'll eventually break it down. And those flying things there drop sap. When Pikmin eat sap, it makes a flower go on their head, just like what we saw there. That essentially means that the Pikmin move faster and like follow you a lot closer. So ideally you'd want all of your Pikmin to be flowered if possible. So it just speeds up everything, and since most of this game is waiting around for your Pikmin, you want your Pikmin to be as fast as possible. Okay, so eventually they'll break down the wall there. The other thing I should mention is that if you leave Pikmin planted in the ground before you pluck them out for a fairly long time, they will get flowered as well. So that's another way to do it apart from sap. Take care of that enemy there. And we're going to go out and get some more flowers. You'll see that all the Pikmin in the ground there have like a white bulb on the top. That's them starting to flower, essentially. And if we get these things here, we can turn them into sprays, which will just help us deal with enemies a bit more. Okay, once you're ready, bring all your Pikmin sort of up here, take care of that guy. And we can bring him down. And I'm going to go pluck all these Pikmin because they're basically flowered now. Just grab more of those things if you can. And you'll notice that the sprays now appear on the D-pad button, so you can use them from there if you'd like to. Okay, and we're going to see a cave here, so we'll just go in. Just a reminder with caves tend to be randomly generated where all the stuff is on each floor, but most floors will just have the same stuff in it as I do, even if they're in slightly different spots. So just be sure to follow along and grab all the items that I'm getting. Just getting that D-pad there. And we can head down into the next level soon. Alright, so we got some more sap there, which means we can flower all the Pikmin, and we can get some more purples. So anytime you have an opportunity like this to get purples, absolutely take that opportunity. They're very valuable Pikmin. And we're just going to power up the purples there. Alright, down into the next level. Now, your red ones are resistant to fire. So each Pikmin sort of has an ability, that's what the red ones do. So you want to throw all the red ones at these fiery bits before letting the fire hit your purple Pikmin. Because that would be very bad if your purple get hit by the fire. If they do get hit by the fire, you can sort of whistle and call them back to you, and sometimes that will help put them out. But sometimes you can lose Pikmin over it, so just watch out for that. Wait till these bring back the floppy disk there, and then we can move on. So we get the floppy disk, and we're going into the next level. Alright, into level 4 here. Remember, throw your Pikmin onto the back of this thing, and the purples will do a good job of killing it. So there we go. Any fire you want to throw red ones onto. And there's another flower there that we can use to get a whole bunch more purples. Okay, once you got that, there's a bit more sap here that you can get to fully flower up all your Pikmin. And then down into the next level. So level 5 now, this is our final floor, and we come across like a boss thing. If you're really quick, you can get it. But just watch out because it can like roll over and crush you, which you obviously don't want. Okay, so you just get that little treasure here. And once we got that, we can head out of the cave. Alright, with the cave complete, we sort of go back to our base with all of our Pikmin collected. So if you were dragging any treasures back before you went into the cave, the Pikmin would sort of just like drop them, and then you'd have to go and get the treasures again. So just make sure you're strategic about when you enter caves and that you're not like halfway in the middle of doing anything. And time essentially stops in a cave. So usually what I do is do everything I need to do in a day and then go into the cave right at the end of a day. Because the cave sort of gathers up your Pikmin for you anyway. Okay. So make sure you have on you all the Pikmin that you want to bring in. And we just want to go into this cave now. So again, yours will be laid out a little bit differently, but same sort of concept. Just grab everything I grab on each floor. I'm going to grab that bottle cap thing. And then we'll bring it back. Wait till it goes in. Sorry, shoe polish, I should say. And we're into the next level. Take care of all the enemies. Remember, the purple ones will do a good job of like stunning it if you can throw them onto the back. Never throw your Pikmin into like an enemy's mouth. Grab that rock. And you'll notice that we actually have a treasure tracker now down in the bottom right. So you can actually hear the treasure tracker turning off once you've got all the treasures. And it will go like grey if you've done that. So from now on, you don't have to take my word for it. You'll know whether or not you got all the treasures based on that treasure tracker on the bottom right there. It'll also go if you're like near treasures, it'll like ping. And these white Pikmin are relevant to that. So sometimes treasures now will be buried under the ground. So you got to sort of bring your white Pikmin over to where the treasures are, and then they'll like dig for it. And you can tell that from the treasure tracker thing. So you can see there the white Pikmin were digging out that treasure from the ground. And there we go. Just wait till they bring it back to the base there. And once they've put it in, you can go on to the next level, sub-level 4. The white Pikmin are also poison resistant, so any of these little poison spurty things you want to throw the white Pikmin at. There's a treasure behind there to grab. That mushroom also counts as a treasure, so we'll grab that. Once you got both those things, you can head down into level 5. It's the final floor. There's a little boss here. You want to hit its head with Pikmin. And if you can charge the Pikmin at it while it's coming out of the ground, then you should be able to deal with most of the boss before it can really damage you. Remember to charge, if you're on Gamecube, that's just on the C stick. You just hold the C stick and the Pikmin run and automatically go into whatever you're charging them at. I think on the Switch version, you have to hold a specific button. I think it's like R to do that. Okay, so bring back all the treasures. And once you got that, you'll notice on the bottom right, the treasure tracker has turned off and gone grey. So make sure whenever you're in a cave, it's done that before you move on to the next level, every time. Okay, back to our ship. Not really much more we can do in this day at all. So now that we got white Pikmin, I will attempt to break down the gate here. But you'll see there's not really enough time to do anything significant to it. I'm also just going to charge my Pikmin at those flowers and get a few more. Okay, so now that it's sort of near the end of the day, we just have to round up our Pikmin. So any Pikmin that are on you are safe. Also any Pikmin that are sort of near the onion are safe. So I'm just going to call all of them back last minute, and you'll see I got 95 out of 95, so we don't have any Pikmin die. Pretty important you don't let your Pikmin die, because we have a hard enough time getting enough in the first place, so you don't want to be losing any. You can redo days and levels of dungeons if you die as well, so that's another strategy you can use. There I'm getting out 15 white, 25 purple, and then the rest red. I'm also going to use the ultra spicy spray that was on the red spray there. I'm just using that to make our Pikmin move a little bit quicker. And this will just help us be a bit more efficient through the start of this day. You don't need to use that now. You could wait till you're doing more of like a time sensitive thing. I just thought I've got it, so I might as well use it. Okay, gather up all your Pikmin here. And we're going to bring the white Pikmin through that gate that we just broke down and put them onto the next gate here. Now this bit's a bit funny. You can throw your Pikmin up there, and the two wood plank platform things, you want to throw Pikmin onto the other one so that it sort of raises you up. There we go. You can grab those, grab the dice, and then sort of bring everything back to the onion. Alright, come through here where the whites have broken down the gate there. And there's a treasure behind here as well as a horrible enemy to deal with, so just watch out for that one. This will spawn a bridge across the gap there, which is really good. And then we can get that treasure as well that we're after. Just collect up any Pikmin that were here. And everything's sort of coming back. Alright, now that we got everything we need, we're just going to gather up all of our Pikmin and end the day. There's not really a whole lot more we can do in that area yet. So just go on and we've unlocked a new section, Perplexing Pool. Okay, so 15 of those, 25 purples, and then we got a few reds. You'll notice there's yellows over there. This is a new type of Pikmin that are resistant to electricity. So to do this, you just want to chuck the Pikmin up the top there and maybe throw 1 or 2 purples onto the platform to your left just so that it pushes you up. Fire Pikmin onto that fire guy because they're resistant to fire. Try not to let him attack your Pikmin. And we can throw poisons onto that poison gate. This guy is a bit of a pain to deal with, especially if we don't have a lot of fire Pikmin. So just do the best that you can. If you want, you can separate out all your party so you can like dismiss them with one of the face buttons and then only call your red so that you don't accidentally throw any purples onto it. Just do that to spawn the bridge. You'll notice that the purple there was planted. That's this pesky enemy that's sort of flying around there. He'll pick up and replant your Pikmin, which is really annoying to deal with. And you might also recognize this area if you played Pikmin 1 as well. Okay, there's the yellows. So now that we got those, we sort of unlocked that as a new type. And the yellow Pikmin do actually have flowers that you can use to get them. So remember, if you grab a flower with all the right color, you will get double Pikmin for that. So that's why with this one here, I'm trying to bring it back with all yellows. And that spits out 20 rather than 10. This is also the reason why I didn't get 100 Pikmin in my party when I started out the map, because I do want to have more yellows. I'm also collecting a few enemies here with the yellows. Just bring those back so we can really bump up our yellow numbers as quick as possible. And you'll also notice me using that strategy because I only wanted yellows. I sort of put the reds and purples and whites off to the side. Alright, there we go. We can pluck all the yellows. Now we've got heaps of them. Go over any sap just to flower up all the Pikmin that we need to. And just going to deposit back some yellows. And we'll get a few more of the red ones out. Okay, there we go. We got a cave here. You'll notice I got a few yellows, and then mostly purples and reds. So mostly purples and reds. I think I have 15 white ones and then a few yellow ones. Whenever you go into the cave, I sort of like to have a mixture of all types, just for whatever comes up. White Pikmin are really important because they can usually dig for treasures which are buried under the ground. If you don't do that, you may not be able to 100% the cave. So make sure you definitely have whites at least, but you probably want some of every type. Bring this back, we got the tomato. And there we go, we can head in down another level. Again, maybe yours will be laid out differently to me, but you still want to get the same sort of treasures. Don't go down a level until your treasure tracker has gone grey, because that means you've got all the treasures there. Use the sap to flower up your Pikmin. Any fire, throw your red ones onto. And these spiders, they sort of steal the treasures, so even if you bring it back, sometimes the spiders will grab it out of your Pikmin hands, which will be really annoying. When those things ground pound, you basically want to throw purples onto them. That's one of the best ways to deal with it. And careful when you hit this thing, because all the little larvae will come out. So there we go, we got the cap, and then we got this rubber duck thing. Alright, down to the next level once your treasure tracker is turned off. There we go. Now I'm still bringing enemies back pretty regularly, but you're probably at the point in the game now where you don't really need to bring back every enemy if you've got enough Pikmin. Main reason is it just takes a whole bunch of extra time. Okay, there we go, we got that tin there to bring back. And that flower will sort of spit out any color, depending which color it's showing at the time. Unfortunately, you can't use it to get more purples, which would be really nice. Okay, collect that last little shell treasure thing, and then your tracker will turn off, so we want to head down another level, down to level 4. Okay, there's a treasure behind this fire thing, so just jump in there and grab that. Now this flower gives you some white Pikmin, which you absolutely want to do, so you can turn your red ones into white ones. And this is partially why I like to go into caves with so many reds, because they're generally the ones you want to convert into other colors. Not so much that reds aren't useful, it's just that we have more of them at this point in the game, because they're the ones we started with. Alright, heading up through here, you'll notice the next level bit is behind the gate, so we just got to break that down first. The treasure tracker is turned off, so we're ready to head down. And we're into level 5, which is the final floor. There's a boss here to deal with. So if you can chuck Pikmin up at the actual orb thing in the center of it, like the body of the spider, that's ideal. If you can hit it with a few purples, you win the fight pretty quickly, but also it's kind of hard to hit them with purples. So yellows are really good because yellows actually get thrown higher. So that's a good way to beat that boss. Anyway, we got the key which unlocks challenge mode. That won't be a part of this video, but that's something else you can do with the game if you want to. And we're going to chuck Pikmin up there, specifically white Pikmin, so they'll dig out the treasure from the ground. Make sure you've got that before you leave. There we go. And you'll notice that when we complete a cave, there's a little flag with like 11 out of 11 on there. Okay, continuing here, we're just going to go across this bridge. Grab the flower pellets. The white Pikmin are really good for dealing with this thing because it's poisonous. Throw your yellow ones up here. As I said before, yellows do get thrown a little bit higher, so they're really good for reaching high up places like that one. You can use your Pikmin to get a few more of these berry things and then just bring them back. Now that one you can sort of use on enemies to make it easier to get rid of them. Now we're hitting sunset, so we really would like to have all of our Pikmin on us, and we'll just go to sunset there. Alright, next day we're just going to go back to that bottom right section on the map. So we were here before, but now that we got yellows, we can do a little bit more in this one. So just chuck all your Pikmin up here, they'll deal with that enemy. You can walk through the water, but your Pikmin can't. And you'll notice there are blue Pikmin up here now. So we did need the yellow ones to get the blue ones. You can see that's like an electric gate that only the yellows can break down there. Alright, the yellows have sort of broken down the gate. So we're just going to bring them back there and start them on that treasure. The other thing that we'll do is we'll chuck the yellows up there to break down this gate. Now I'm using a little strategy there. I threw them up and then I sort of whistled them back to me and then threw them up again. So we'll get the yellows working on that gate just up there. Now that we're sort of over here though, we can get blue Pikmin. Same sort of concept as when we grab yellows. We're going to go around with blues and break all the flowers, trying to get more and more blue ones. So not that you really can get these flowers with any other types of Pikmin, but you want to grab the blue flowers with blues, just so that we can get the numbers up for blue Pikmin really quickly. Once we've got 5, we can get that big pellet. And you'll notice me depositing in some red Pikmin. Reason for that is if you've already got 100 out on the field, it won't let you get any more Pikmin out. So we're sort of making some room for blue ones. Alright, once we've got the blues here, we can bring them across to this section. Take care of this enemy with the blues. It can be a little bit tricky, but just chuck them on it when it's down. And then we want to start the blues on this bridge. Okay, so bring the blues along here as well. You can break down this gate. There's also a thing in the water that they're breaking. That's almost like a plug in a sense, and it'll drain that water. Now that we've done that, we can actually get all the Pikmin on that gate, which is really good. Bring your blues back here. Take care of this enemy with them. Then we're just going to head back through this section. Grab the purples. Now we're going to use the white Pikmin to break down that poison bridge. And since it's the end of the day, we're going to go and start gathering up a lot of our Pikmin. So again, really quite important that you don't let your Pikmin die. So make sure you've gathered them all up by sunset. There we go, 97 out of 97. Okay, we're going to go back into that same map we were just in. A lot more to do here still. So grab as many whites as you can and some blues. I'm actually not going to grab others at this point. And we're really trying to increase these blue numbers. So that's why I'm just getting all the enemies I can, all the flowers I can, just bring them all back with blues. And that's going to give us heaps of blue Pikmin. And in case you're wondering, the ability that blue ones have is they can actually go through water, which is very helpful. Okay, hit the poison dispensers with the white Pikmin, and then take care of this guy with the blue one. Once those poison dispensers are down, you can pretty much bring Pikmin freely across the bridge, which is really good. And there's sort of a boss bird enemy there, which can be really pesky to deal with. Luckily, our Pikmin have managed to walk past it fairly safely, but you do have to watch out for it. Okay. So you want to throw a few Pikmin onto the little weight seesaw type things, and then we'll head back here. So you can see a louder got there. We've got the one down sort of over here. And then with our partner, we're going to raise the one on the right with enough Pikmin there so that we can actually chuck 15 blue ones up there. Take care of this boss. As long as you get his head as he's coming out of the ground, it's usually okay. And you can charge Pikmin onto that, and that usually does the trick. So there we go. So that blue Pikmin there, we're just going to get all the things. Grab that flower pellet in the water. Alright, go and pluck any Pikmin you haven't plucked yet. Okay, we're going to deposit some blue ones because we don't need as many blue ones anymore. And we're just going to get a really even, nice balance of everything here. So pretty much some of every type. There we go, so we got all 100. You can see I've pretty much got an even balance of everything. And we'll be taking them all across the bridge here. And just use them to break this down. I've used one of those berry things just to make it a whole lot quicker. And we're just going to head into that cave. So again, just remember your caves are laid out differently, but grab the same stuff that I'm grabbing on each floor. Throw it onto the back of this guy. You kind of strategically want to throw purples first so they stun him. And you want to go up here. Make sure you got the marble. And a feather is actually a treasure. It took me a long time to figure that out. So they will bring the feather back. You've just got to wait for that. There we go. And we can go deeper. Okay, now we're in this section. With those enemies, the shell is the bit that you don't want to throw Pikmin on. But you've just got to watch out. They have a very pointy nose, which can hurt your Pikmin. Okay, that guy's an enemy, so just wait for him to come out of the ground and then deal with him. And we've got another treasure to pick up there. Strawberry is a treasure as well, so make sure you got that. And then you would hope that would be sap, but it's actually enemies, so that's a little bit frustrating. Alright, they're bringing the strawberry back, so just wait for that to go ahead. Alright, with that in, we're ready to head to the next level, so level 3. Another one of these bird guys. And a flower to give us some more purple Pikmin, which is really good. And also some white Pikmin. So just chuck your red Pikmin in here. They're generally the ones you want to get rid of. I'm chucking some yellows in there only just to rebalance the yellow and red numbers. But I would just chuck in whatever you have more of at this point. Make sure you never leave yourself without a particular type. I'd say you generally want at least 10 or 15 of each type. Ideally, you'd have it even, so you'd have like 20 of each. Okay, going further down. We're into sub-level 4 now. These guys will throw balls at you like boulders, so you just gotta not get hit when they do it. You may even want to bring just like a couple of purples down here rather than bringing your whole Pikmin crew with you. And since those are electric, you want to throw the yellow ones at them. They're immune to electricity. And we just bring all the treasures back. Now my red Pikmin there got hit by some water. So if that ever happens, like if you get Pikmin like on fire or hit by water or something, you just want to whistle them back, and that usually saves them if you can do it quick enough. Okay, on to level 5. So we got a marble there to grab. Now watch out for that guy, you just want to hit him with purples really quickly before he can do his attack on you. Now we just get the last enemy and then head down another level. Okay, we got poisons here, so just use the white Pikmin on any of that poison stuff. Since those white and purple flowers are kind of hard to come by, we always want to get more white and purple Pikmin whenever we can. So this is a little cheeky strategy. You can throw purples up there and then like cool them down. When Pikmin get in water, if you're quick enough to cool them out of the water, they won't die. So you can sometimes use that to get Pikmin through the water that you're not really supposed to get through water. Only thing is, if you're bringing back treasures like this and your Pikmin are going to walk through the water, make sure you're using blue Pikmin to get the treasures back through, otherwise they will drown. Okay, so cool those back. Alright, now that one's poisoned, but when they're poisoned, you can just call them back to you, and usually you'll be able to save them in time. Use the white Pikmin to deal with that poison emitter. And I'm going to get a couple more blue Pikmin just there. This is a very water-based level, that's why I'm getting some more blue ones. I'm going to try and bring some Pikmin across here that aren't blue, purely just because I want to turn some more into purples while I can. So I think that's a blue flower, not a purple flower. But generally, yeah, we want more blue Pikmin because of how much water is in this level. Alright, bring your blue ones back across. And we got a few bits and pieces we can grab. So I'm getting rid of all the white Pikmin, and then we will just put our 20 blue ones on there. And we can use our white ones to deal with this enemy. And there we go. That enemy normally screws up our treasure tracker, but now that we've killed it, the treasure tracker is going to behave normally. And that's actually a treasure there, that one. There we go. And then we can head deeper. Okay, final floor here. Flower up any Pikmin you haven't got yet. I like using that charge thing to charge the Pikmin into the sap. It tends to give you better control over which ones get flowered up. Alright, and there's the boss. Similar to the other bird boss, you're trying to hit its head when it's coming out of the ground. So I usually just like charge them around and try and get them to hit the head with the charge. So something like that is generally what you want. You can see like half its health bar went away on the one cycle. We get this robot thing, so we'll just bring that back. Again, flower up any Pikmin you need to. then we can head out. Okay, so 15 out of 15 treasures in the cave we should have. Alright, getting some more red Pikmin in our party. And we're just going to go into the next cave here. There we go. Take care of this enemy. Purple's generally pretty good for that. Alright, next level. Lots of fire in here to deal with, so we'll just do that. Get the spiders if you can. Now the spiders can emit fire as well, so that's why red ones can be pretty good. You want to throw them up onto that bit and then charge them across onto the diamond. That's how you deal with that. And when they recover that, we should be good to go down to the next level. Try and hit these floaties. They can only really blast wind at you, so it's not really much they can do. Alright, you'll notice the white Pikmin have dug up a treasure there, so really important that you have some of those. If not, I guess you could use this flower here. Any opportunity you get to get whites or purples, you should absolutely take. Okay, into here. Speaking of, we're going to get some purples in that one. Alright, we're going to go further down. Level 5. Alright, got a treasure to dig up there. You might notice some like bomb enemies dropping from the roof, so if that ever happens to you, make sure you just run away as soon as you can. You don't want them to hit all your Pikmin. Okay, coming through here, we're just going to use red ones, so they're fireproof. There we go, that guy had a treasure inside. And watch out for the bomb to drop. Okay, we got to dig that one out with the white Pikmin, and that's another treasure to get. Now we're pretty much just waiting now for the treasures to come back. So get the skull and that thing, and then we're ready to head further down. So up to level 7 now, final floor. Take care of these fire emitters before you bring the rest of your Pikmin through. And there we go. You can use your special charge up berry power thing, and that'll make it really quick. You just chuck purples at it and take care of it. So chuck your red Pikmin up there. They're resistant to fire here and they can bring it back. And that'll eventually come back. And we got the cave completed, 10 out of 10. Okay, and gather up our Pikmin and just head over here. Okay, so that was a little treasure just from up on the top bit. And you might notice the treasure tracker is turned off now. That means we've actually got all the treasures on the map here. Okay, with that, we're getting a few more berries if we can. And then we're just going to end up the day here. And there we go. Alright, next day we're going to go to sort of that bottom left one. This is the same as the first map we went to in the game. Gonna get a few Pikmin here, lots of purples, a couple of whites, and then spread the rest evenly. Here we're just going to level them up to flowers if possible. And then bring them back down. And we'll bring them across here. Okay, so this is a water section, so we'll need blues to get through here. Grab any blues you've got. And this is another one that has sort of one of those plug things. So once we're through, we'll be able to drain the water. Okay, so let the blues take that down and then chuck them on the plug bit and we'll drain that out. Now that it's drained, we can actually bring the rest of the Pikmin through. And we've also got to make a bridge. So you want to bring your blues across, take care of these enemies because they can chuck fire at you, which is obviously not ideal for blue Pikmin. There we go. And then get them building the bridge. While we're doing that, we can just take care of this boss here, which also has a treasure inside. Well, sort of. It's got a treasure behind it. Now, as you're bringing treasures back, I like to just chuck like one purple at it, because that means you're not really wasting a whole bunch of Pikmin that you'd otherwise have out. So the blues have built the bridge here. We want to bring our Pikmin across. And we're just going to clean up some more stuff here. We've got treasures, so chuck your yellows up there and then charge them across to the bear. I'm going to start getting some of that stuff and start dealing with these guys who throw the boulders. Not so much that you need to kill them, more that you just don't want them throwing boulders at you anymore. Get your white Pikmin onto that wall, but they're going to be doing that for quite a while. And ideally, you'd be getting this boulder guy dealt with as well. So there we go. He's a bit of a pain, but there we go. We should be able to get the crown and deal with that guy. We've also got this guy who's just going to blow wind at all of our Pikmin, so get rid of him. And then we can build that sort of bridge up to the other cave. And now we've done that, we're just going to collect up a few Pikmin, head back to the camp and collect up all these. Alright, we're going to get some more white Pikmin here just to break down the gate. And those ones are still building the bridge out there, so we'll let them do their thing. And they're bringing the crown back, so we're going to see if we can get those Pikmin once the crown has come back. I really would have liked to have done a cave in this same day, but there's just not quite enough time to bring the Pikmin back to the cave there. So we'll just deposit any Pikmin we've got here and then collect up all the Pikmin who are still further out. I guess let the white Pikmin break down that wall, so that way it's already broken down for the next day. Okay, we're going to go back into that same map we were just in. There we go, 10 white Pikmin, 30 purple. We got 20 of the blue, 20 of the red, and 20 of the yellow. Okay. Now bring these out. We're pretty much ready to go to all the caves on this day. If you're quick enough, you could have got it in the last day, but we just didn't quite get there in time. Now, really important, make sure your Pikmin actually do catch up to you. If they get too far behind, you're going to lose them and you won't be able to bring all of them into the cave. Well, this is the first cave that we're going to go in today. So you can chuck some Pikmin over here, and we got white Pikmin to deal with the poison. These guys are poisonous, but if you can throw purple onto their backs, then you can just deal with them with purple Pikmin, which is a lot better since it's quicker. And try and deal with that guy who's trying to pick up your Pikmin. Well, actually, he's not picking up your Pikmin so much, he's just picking up your characters, which you also don't want. A few more poison dispensers to take care of with the white Pikmin here. And there we go, they can dig for that treasure there. Once got that, we can head down a level. Okay, so try and deal with any of these flying enemies, especially those ones that drop bombs. You do not want them to hit your Pikmin. You can start bringing some of these back. Alright, that's actually a treasure there. It kind of looks like part of the background, but no, it is a treasure. So we'll grab that. Wait for it to come back. And then we're ready to head down another level. Level 3. These guys will throw boulders. You can actually lure them into hitting each other with the boulders, which is very handy. And then to deal with the last one, just chuck purples onto it before it can hit you. Got a spring there to grab. And again, it's another one of these boulder throwers, so try not to get your Pikmin hit by him. There we go. A flower there for some white Pikmin, so we're just putting some yellows into there. Just because I have more yellows, that's the main reason why. And our treasure track is turned off, so we're ready to head down into the next level. Again, a few more white Pikmin that we can get. Just going to throw a mixture of blues and reds and stuff in there, just based on whatever I have the most of. And we can level up any Pikmin to flowers if we want to and just head down. Onto level 5. Lots of explosions happening on this level, so keep your Pikmin close and make sure they don't get hit by anything. I like to, whenever I get this map, sort of go around with just a couple of Pikmin and really clear off everything in the map. And then come back when I'm ready with all the Pikmin. Because there's lots of like little booby traps with like explosives that you can get. There we go. And down to the next level. Now that's really good for leveling up all of our Pikmin to flowers, so make sure you've got everyone as flowers if you can. There we go, we bring that back. Make sure you whistle back your Pikmin as soon as you drop these onto them, otherwise you'll lose them. And those bugs are sort of electric. You can get them with purples if you're quick enough, but they do run the risk of taking damage if you do that. You get another treasure behind these guys, so just let them bring that back. And we're going to go deeper down. Okay, now with these guys, just get behind them so you're not hitting that shield at the front. And you can take care of them with purples. They will come back to life. You'll notice the health bar was like refilling a bit there, so you want to get them back to the ship as soon as possible. Another one of these, so just hit them from behind and get the treasure. And again, make sure you do bring the enemy back, otherwise it'll respawn or like come back to life. Alright, we've almost got all the treasures, so then we're ready to head down. At level 8. You'll notice here some good opportunities for purples, so make sure you take all these opportunities. There's an item at the end of the game which needs 100 purples to pick up, so you basically want all the purples you can get. And we'll head down into the final floor. We just want purples for this bit. Can be a little bit hectic, this fight. So it'll have this laser thing that it uses to try and attack you with, so try and dodge that, and there we go. Other good option there could be yellows, just because you can throw them higher onto the spider's body. We get that treasure there, and then we're ready to head up. So we should have 16 out of 16 treasures here. Okay, we spawn back in. You have a fairly even balance of everything, like 20s across the board if you can. Make sure your Pikmin stay with you, and we're just heading towards the next cave. And there we are. Alright, so deal with these guys. Purples are pretty good. Got a treasure to dig for back there. Another treasure to dig for in that section. And there we go. Next level. Alright, these are the ones that throw boulders again, so you can use them to actually throw boulders at all the other enemies in here, and that'll save you a whole bunch of Pikmin having to take care of them. That guy, just hit him with purples and so he doesn't throw the boulder on you. You get that little treasure there, and another enemy to take care of, as well as that treasure. Deposit all the treasures, and then we should be ready to move on. So into level 3 now. Some purples for this first bit. Now you can actually hit those electric things with purples and it's fine. As long as it doesn't actually zap when your Pikmin are on them, you should be okay. The purples got hit by the fire there, so again, you can just call them back when they get fired. It's not a big deal, just as long as you get them in time. Take care of all those enemies, just hit them on the back with purples. And we've got some treasures to bring back. We need some white Pikmin there to deal with that poison bit. And that's that one as well. And they can also dig for this treasure here. There we go. And we can head down to the next level, level 4. You notice a purple flower there, so we're going to get some more purples on this level. So purples are really good at tipping those over. You've also got this guy to deal with, which you want to get really quickly. Otherwise you're just going to bury all your Pikmin. And there we go. Alright, we're on to this level. Just take care of the spiders. And these guys as well. That last one had a treasure in it. Okay, so that's a little punch upgrade for our actual characters. So you can deal damage to enemies by like standing there and hitting what would normally be the throw Pikmin button, but it's a punch button when you're just on your own. And it's a good little safe strategy to deal some damage without risking your Pikmin. So take care of all these enemies with your purples. We should be able to chuck purples across the gap here, mainly so that we can use them for dealing with enemies later on. But to bring any treasures back across here, we will need blues. So we're just going to go and grab those blues now, and we'll use them to bring across all the treasure. You'll notice me just throwing the purples out of the way. That's really important because otherwise they can actually get caught up with the treasure and then they'll go into the water and die. So now I'm just going to chuck the purples back on so that we've got blues to get more pieces across. Get rid of this enemy, and now we play the waiting game. Just adding some purples to them so it goes that a little bit quicker. And we're just waiting for the treasures to deposit, and we're in. So we're to level 7 now. Bring the purples across, take care of all the enemies with them. There's a treasure behind that one. Same thing here, just hit all the enemies on the back with them. And watch out for falling boulders. Okay, we can bring the whites in to dig this one. And they bring it back. That's all the treasure, so we'll head down further. This is our final floor here, just bring the purples with you. Now this boss is brutal. I'm not going to lie, it's a pretty tricky one. Basically, it will roll over and try and crush your Pikmin. So as soon as you dealt a little bit of damage, just call the Pikmin straight back. If you leave them on the boss, they will all get crushed. It also spawns enemies as you go, so you've also got to be kind of quick with it. Anyway, once you've dealt with it, you've got a few treasures to bring back. So I'm just going to chuck a few Pikmin up there to help. And once you got both the treasures, you can head back up. Okay, back in here. Now, regardless, we've got the debt paid now, so we're going to get a cutscene here, pretty much giving us the normal ending to the game and the normal credits and everything. So if you just wanted to get to the credits, you've done it, congrats. But we're going to go and 100% the whole game. So you get a few more cutscenes here, and you go back onto the map, and you actually unlock that new area. But before we go into there, we're going to go back into this map we were in before. And we got a few more bits and pieces to do here. So getting a good mix of Pikmin. And we're just going to go up there and dig for a treasure. Now we're going to come across to this bit. This bit is a real pain to deal with. So use your blues to get rid of the water enemies first. And then get your reds. Now your reds won't want to come across the water normally, but you can sort of chuck them towards the edge and then call them in so they don't die. But the reason you need reds is because this enemy is like a fire enemy. So it's a fire enemy behind a pool of water, which is really cheeky from the Pikmin devs, but there you go. Anyway, we'll need some more blues because that treasure is heavy. But once we've got enough blues, you can bring them back to that pool of water. There we are. And you notice it takes 30, which is quite a bit. We can bring the reds back here. I've called them onto me just so they don't actually grab the treasure and try and bring it back, because if they do, they'll go straight into the water and die. Okay, so we're really just waiting for this treasure to come back now. Get a few more flowers and stuff while waiting. Just let them do their thing. Make sure the treasure tracker is stopped, and that's 100% for this level. So we're going to go to sunset. Alright, into the next day. Although we've unlocked the new map, I'm not going to go there quite yet. We're just going to go and clean up 100% all the stuff we were doing before. So yeah, we need majority blues here, a couple yellows, and we're just going to bring them up this way. Level them up so they all flowered. That'll make things a lot faster for us. And then we're going to go sort of towards here and chuck the yellows at this gate here. So the yellows will start breaking down the gate, but then we need the blues to actually bring the treasure out of the gate once they're broken it down. Okay, so blues can make this bridge. And we've got that red liquid there that we can collect as well. And blues can also just go over here and grab some extra bits and pieces while the yellows are breaking down the gate. Take care of all the water-based enemies, and then we're going to break down this gate. And lure this enemy across, just dealing some damage to it. There we go. Blues can break down this gate as well. And we'll go and grab our other ones that we were using on this gate. There we go. Okay, next up, just take care of this enemy. Right, so just keep bringing them across this water section here. And we're going to get them to be able to bridge across this bit. Okay, we got the bridge sorted. We can level up a couple of them to flowers and take care of this enemy here. This enemy does have a treasure. So there we go. And we'll bring that treasure back. We want a few more yellows there. Yellows we're just going to use to break down this gate a little bit faster. I thought 5 would be enough when I recorded the footage, but it turns out that they're pretty slow if you just use 5. Just bring yourself up. You can start breaking down that other gate if you want. And we can just put a few more blues on this fence. Really just managing our Pikmin, spreading them out so that we can get the most efficiency out of them. All right, I'm going to go here and just gather up a few more. Blues can go there. And now that we've broken down that fence, we can actually use the blues to bring the treasure back out of this section. Yellows we can bring back across, and then blues we can bring back across as well. End of the day, so just gather up all your Pikmin. And there we go. Right, next time we're just going back into the same area. We've got more to finish off here. So we want a whole bunch of yellows. We did manage to break down one of the 2 electric gates on the previous day, but we got the second one to break down now. So we can just chuck them all up here, save a couple to do the seesaw mechanism. And then we just want to put them all on that gate. Alright, once you've done that, just zip back here. You're going to grab some blues and some purples and some whites and, well, a couple reds. So there's a cave behind that gate that we were just looking at. So we're going to try and be getting into that cave. Throw everything you can, except for, a couple blues. And then you can actually even bring the blues back. So you have all 100 Pikmin coming into this cave. All right, into the cave. Just taking care of all the enemies here. Now that crayon thing is a treasure, so we can chuck a Pikmin in there to grab that. Wait till it comes into the thingo, and then we can go to the next level. Okay, into level 2. We have the bread bug things. So what these do is they try and steal the treasure. One of the best ways to kill them, one of the only ways to kill them, is to let them grab a treasure and then drag them up here, and then they get hit by the sort of treasure catcher thing. You can also deal some damage by chucking Pikmin at them, but it's kind of inconsistent. But that's how you can kill a bread bug normally. 3 yellows up here to get this treasure. And once that treasure's in, we should have all of them. So down to the next level. Take care of this wind guy. He's pretty frustrating to deal with. The bread bug's trying to steal the treasure again, so just steal it back. And there we are, just sort of waiting for the treasures to dispense. And we can go to the next level, level 4. Watch out for these enemies, just hit them with purples. That cup is a treasure. It took me ages to figure that out. So there's this thing up here. Again, yellows for anything up on high ledges. There we go. Into level 5. Watch out for this guy, he throws the rocks, and he's right next to the spawning point, so he can take out a lot of your Pikmin if you're not quick enough on him. Same as this guy is a bit of a pain. Get the antenna thing there. Another treasure there to get. Next level, level 6. You're going to deal with all these electricity bits. Mainly because the bread bug is actually on the path through the electricity bits, so if you're going to steal stuff from it, you might as well not get zapped while you're doing that. You can sort of kill the big bread bug by letting him try and steal enemies as well. There we go, now we got all the treasures, we can just head out. 14 out of 14 should be complete. Alright, so you want yellows with you here, but you want to be just really careful that you don't drop any into the water. Bring them across here and let them hit the fence. Similar here, you'll notice that I'm bringing them in like smaller packs, just because if you try and bring all of them over at once, you will drop some into the water. Just going to deposit all the ones that I don't need. I'm going to end up with a whole bunch of blues here once that's done. And we can sort of go over to where these yellows are, wait for them to break down the gate. So we're just going to rebalance my Pikmin here and see if we can chuck a whole bunch of them up there and bring them across. So that's the other way to bring them across. So similar to what I did with the yellows before. If you hit this, it should drain out the lake. So just hit that with some blues. Make sure you get a really balanced team of Pikmin. That'll drain out and that's a cave we can go into. So just going to head into there. Okay. Take care of these guys, and there's a treasure just behind them. Watch out for the falling rocks. Alright, we got that treasure, so we're ready for the next level. Hit that guy with the purples, and poison those with the whites. Another treasure behind there which we need to get, and a battery. Try and deal with this jellyfish. Some purples on it really quickly should do the trick. Get rid of the poison dispensers around the little arena here. And we're just going to have to wait it out for the treasures to dispense. There we go. Okay, further down. Let that guy lunge out at your Pikmin and then you can hit it on the back. That's the way to defeat it. You can't really deal damage if it's still in its hole. Get the jellyfish here. Purples are really good for these. And there we go. Let's go to treasure inside it as well. And we just break down the gate here. And that should be all the treasures. So we'll go through. Alright, next one here, just go through this little pipe. We got that leaf thing there, that is actually a treasure. Depending what version of the game you're playing, that leaf may be red, so just watch out for it potentially being a different color. Alright, just dealing with all the enemies on the way here. They're going to chuck blues up through there. They'll get a treasure out of that bit. And we've got a gate to break just to get to the exit. Alright, down to level 6. Okay, so we're going to deal with these enemies in front of here. Got a treasure to grab and a couple more treasures back here. So just be careful of that guy who's going to plant your Pikmin. You don't want him to catch any because they'll just go all over the cave. And then we should bring some blues back here. We got a duck treasure thing. A little bit there that we can go to. Now we're just going to wait it out for the treasure to go in. And we're going down a level. Alright, final floor here. Just break down the gate for that bit. Got this boss guy. Purples tend to do the trick. So there we go. Alright, so we're just waiting for that treasure to go back in. Alright, we're going to go pretty much a whole party of blue Pikmin there. And we're going to level up any that weren't flowered. Just going to bring them down through this gate that we broke down before. And we've got a little cave here. So we can head into this cave. Okay, so we obviously don't have red ones to deal with this fire, but you've sort of just got to try and hit the fire when it's off rather than on. And we don't have any purples that we can use to kill enemies really easily. Alright, that treasure, we can head down to the next level. Got a little gate to break down. And we can break that thing up there. And a treasure to grab as well. Alright, one of those enemies dropped a treasure, so be sure to grab that and the donut. And we'll head back out. And you want to deal with this guy before they drag the treasure past him. Alright, just going to wait for that treasure to get checked in, and then we can go to the next floor. Okay, a few gates to break here. We can trade in for some poison Pikmin, that would be good. Just make sure you throw onto those guys when they're not zapping. And with those spiders, it can actually sometimes be good to just go and punch with your main character, not even try and throw Pikmin at them. Alright, heading down further. Level 4. So we should still have some poisons from the last one. They can deal with any of those poison dispenser things. Just walking into every little bit to trigger any bombs that may fall down from the ceiling before your Pikmin do. Okay, you got a gate to break down there and treasure behind it. And a little poison thing before the exit. So throw your white Pikmin at that and then we can head out. Alright, on to level 5, this is the final one. We finally get access to purples just in time for the boss. So grab those, and these ones as well. Any purples you can get are always good, and if you do run out of purples at any point in the game, you can go back to any cave that had purples in them. We'll be doing a big stock up on purples right at the end of the walkthrough as well. Okay, so hit that egg. You've got this roller guy. You actually need purples to beat him, so do that. So you just keep hitting him with purples, and then you got it. He'll run away, so you just sort of chase him and hit him with more purples. There we go. There we go. Alright, so he'll drop a treasure. You want to collect that treasure and then just head out. And cave done. Alright, we just want the 5 white Pikmin. We'll chuck them up on the ledge there. Now there's a little cheeky strategy I'm using for this one, but you want the white Pikmin to dig up the treasure, but you don't want the white Pikmin to bring back the treasure because they're going to hit the water and drown if they do that. So you swap to blue once the treasure is partially out of the ground, and then you can use them to bring it back. Just make sure you take care of any enemies that may be in your way. And over here we can chuck some blues on here. You can lay out the stairs as so. You basically just want to get across the stairs like what I'm doing here, so that you can walk up to the actual treasure itself. So there we go, we just get that treasure off the ledge there. Try not to get hit by these enemies. Now, if you had time in the day, you would be able to bring it back. Unfortunately, I ran out of time, so I'm just going to go and gather up any Pikmin I can. Okay, back onto the map. We're just going to go into that same map we were in before. Okay, so same sort of strategy. Unfortunately, I couldn't finish getting the treasure out, and as a result, it's buried back in the ground again, so we just have to do that bit again. It's the same thing. Use whites to get the first bit out of the ground, then use blues, and I'm going to go back and try and get that other treasure. Killing any enemies on the way as well. Since I got a bit more time in the day, I'm actually just going to hang down and wait for the blues to come through. The other thing you may want to do is bring some Pikmin over here and then sort of lure this enemy away. There we go. You can sort of lure the enemy away while this Pikmin are grabbing that shell, and then that's a good strategy to use. Okay, now we're going to go back and grab that treasure that I started getting on the yesterday, essentially. Now that one, luckily, is still in the water. It's still off the ledge, so we don't have to do that whole seesaw thing again. Okay, so he's depositing some Pikmin, get some yellows as well. So he's still with this guy. Really what you're wanting to do with that enemy is not so much kill him, but basically make sure he's out of the way for when your Pikmin go past. Bring some yellows up here, and then throw them up the top there. We can walk back up. And we want to chuck them all up to this object here, which they should be able to drop down. Remember, yellows get thrown higher than the other Pikmin. So grab those with yellows. Try and distract this fire guy so he doesn't hit your yellows as they bring the object. And let him bring it through. There we go. That is our last treasure. And we're just going to go to sunset because that's the end of this map. Alright, next we're actually going to go to the top right. So this is the map that we unlocked when we sort of beat the game any percent. So lots of purples we want for this one. A lot of the things you're dealing with in this map is like just trying to kill enemies. So purples are going to be really good for this. Get like an even balance of these ones here now. And we get quite a few yellows. Alright, so we got a little cave there to have a look at. And we're going to head in. Okay, you can probably see why I brought in yellows here. Deal with that enemy there. Any bombs you get, just like trigger them from a distance. Don't let your Pikmin hit them. There we go, and we got some treasures to grab. And we can just wait up for those. And then we're down to the next level. Okay, use your fires on this guy. We don't have many fire ones, so we just got to be careful. Make sure none of them get eaten. There we go. Use a purple on him. And you can actually just throw purples on their backs, and as long as you're quick enough, the purples will kill them before they totally catch on fire. Can be a bit risky, but it's a little bit quicker than using your limited fire ones to do this. There we go. Some treasures to bring back. And we're just going to wait it out till we got all the treasures now. And down a level, level 3. Alright, we just want purples. You can tell which ones are enemies because they have like eyes on them, the plants. Again, you can like sneak past without triggering these, but then when your Pikmin bring treasure past, they'll trigger the enemies and all die. So you want to trigger them if you see them. And just throw a bunch of purples on and you would generally do okay. Alright, we can dig there for another treasure. And bring all of it back. And then we're ready to head out of this level. Okay, into the next one, level 4. Start off by like triggering everything around the boss. So purples on this guy, try and watch out for them like getting burnt or in the water or whatever. Want to get that treasure there. And we're going to go down to the next one. This is an opportunity to get some more purples and white Pikmin, so take that opportunity. We've also got an upgrade which lets us just whistle at Pikmin to pluck them instead of actually plucking them. So that's going to be pretty useful. When you're ready, you just head down into level 6. Just want our purples really. Take care of all these enemies. Through that little pipe there. And we got a mushroom there to grab. Jump across the gap. And there we go. And then we're pretty much just waiting for it to bring it back. There we go. And we can head down a level. Alright, into level 7. Again, just want some purples. Just dealing with these enemies. There we go. Grab your purples back. Then we're going to deal with this wind guy. And level everything up. I'm going to get rid of the poison thing. And there's a few bits and pieces of poison to get rid of while we got white Pikmin. Right, watch out for this wind guy again, just take care of it with purples. Yeah, we've got some white Pikmin to deal with the poison there. And we can head through to the battery. Once we're done, just head through to the poison bit here. And we just want to dig down this wall and head down. Right into level 8. Get purples. Just taking care of a lot of these little enemies. Watch out for this guy. Now, the reason you want to take care of these enemies, they don't seem like they're too painful to deal with. It's just when you bring this treasure through, they can attack you quite a bit. Now, I'm actually just going to distract this guy. I'm not even going to bother killing him. So, because all the other enemies are dead, the Pikmin now just have a clear path through, and you don't actually have to worry about dealing with that guy. Alright, there we go. There's all the treasures, so he's going to head down. Level 9. Get some white Pikmin onto that, and then chuck a purple one through. Similar story here. Watch out for this guy. He can be an absolute pain. And you can see the strategy I'm sort of going for. I'm sort of just like luring the enemies away rather than losing all my Pikmin trying to kill them. This is the final floor, level 10. So he's going to grab some purple ones. Now this enemy is going to roll into the wall and then sort of spin out and expose its stomach, which you can then attack. And that's the boss done. So get your treasure back, and then we can head back out. Okay, so that's that cave completed. Alright, just rebalancing our Pikmin numbers a bit here. I want blues for this section. And And then just let them build the bridge once we killed these enemies here. There we go. Alright, so they'll keep building that bridge. Now we just want the white Pikmin. They'll take care of this poison gate here. Now we just get the rest of our crew. We've got some reds and purples to bring across here. So naturally, with a lot of enemies, purples are going to be really good here. There we go. Alright, just bring a whole bunch of stuff back. Since we've got some white Pikmin back, we can deal with that poison gate there. And we can level up some Pikmin on that sap. And we're about to hit sunset, so I'm just going to try and collect up everything if I can. So it's a little cheeky strategy there. I might actually go back. You'll notice that I'm putting all the Pikmin just on the wall there. And then I'm whistling them from, well, you sort of still got 100. And then you can whistle them from the other side. And then they sort of run at the poison wall and they're all going to die. But if you go into the cave quick enough, you've technically got all 100, even though you didn't bring them right next to the cave. So it's a little cheeky strategy to bring them into that cave without actually having to break down the poison wall and everything and get past all the enemies. Very useful indeed. So it's going to bring some Pikmin past here. If you got just a few, you can sort of sneak past the poison bit. That's all the treasure here, so as soon as they've broken that down, we're just going to go through onto level 2. Just getting some purples. Now I've only got so few Pikmin because that guy in the center who's just going to like toss out boulders and stuff. So you don't want all your Pikmin here just ready to take damage. But that guy does have a treasure inside him, so you do actually have to defeat him. There we go, that's the treasure. So we're just going to get that with our Pikmin. And head on through. Excellent. And then we can just head down to the next level. Okay, with that we're just going to come across here. There we go, we got a joystick. And we can just head in, that was the only treasure there. So you can see here, these floors are quite treacherous, but if you just go in and actually grab the treasures and don't waste your time killing enemies, you don't need to. You can get through them a bit easier. Alright, there we go. So that's the treasure we sort of need to get. I'd follow up your Pikmin just to make sure they're not dying. I'm just going to sort of wait at the cave here, wait for the treasure to come back in, and then we can go down to the next level. Okay, just purples for this one. Yes, it's fiery, but as I said before, as long as you just whistle them back before they die from the fire, you're usually fine. And honestly, it's quicker to use purples there than it is to use fires to kill the fire guy. There we go, that's all the treasure. Next level. Got some sap there, and we'll just grab our purples. So you see that jellyfish actually had some treasure inside of it, so we're going to get that. That's all of it, so we're just going to break that down and go through there. Okay, purples here, deal with all these balloon guys. Alright, you can chuck them on there. And we got some treasure coming back. Lucky that guy won't blow them off if they're trying to like get the rock thing away, which is convenient. Okay, next floor. Take care of all the spiders on the way up and any electricity. You can see this floor is pretty much designed that they'd want you to have every type of Pikmin, but if you're quick enough with the purples, you can just use those instead for pretty much everything. There we go, we got the poison ones. You will need poisons here to get rid of that thing. And then the spider's got that object, so just take care of the spider. And it's going to clear off some more area here, because there's another treasure to get. Got the poison ones, so we're just going to bring them across here and get rid of any poisons we need to. Now we can grab that treasure too. Watch out for that guy. That'll pretty much be all the treasure coming through, so he's going to head down now. Okay. This one here, that guy's got some sap that we can use to level up. Now we just want to head down. Alright, we're up into level 10. Use your water Pikmin here. I'm going to deal with this guy. There we go. So that's got a treasure. Mainly you want to use water Pikmin because that will bring it back through the water. Make sure you distract this guy so he doesn't hit your water Pikmin. And that's all the treasure. So you don't want to hang around on that floor for too long because you will just lose Pikmin. Poisons to get rid of this thing. Now we've got a treasure behind it and some bread bugs as well. Watch out for these flame guys. Now we've got that treasure to bring back there. Alrighty, so chuck some purples on there. You actually don't need to break the poison if you can just drag the purples in behind it. But you can break the poison if you want to. And then we got the treasure in. So it's going to head down. Alright, level 12. I'll break down this gate. Watch out for this guy. He's got a treasure inside. Purple's on that guy. White Pikmin here. And we can dig behind this. You'll always know where to dig. Like, the dungeons are randomly generated, so your items are going to be in different spots than mine. But you'll always know where to dig because of your treasure tracker. And only white Pikmin can dig up treasures. Okay, into here. Level 13. Just going to take care of a lot of these enemies. Try not to wake up the other enemies if you can avoid it. That was actually the only treasure, so I'm just going to walk straight past the other enemies. Okay, into here, just want purples. And some yellows. This is Louis, this is one of like the main plot points of the post-game. So yellows are really good for this. You'll actually notice that this boss has different like weapons, so to speak. And so they're actually like color-coded for which Pikmin you're supposed to use against them. Yellows are immune to that electric attack as well, so that's really good to use yellows if you can, and it depends how lucky you get as to how you go. Pretty much the reason I like yellows for this fight is, like, you saw just then, the yellows did get poisoned, but you can always whistle them back if they get poisoned. However, if anything that's not yellow gets electrocuted, the Pikmin are just automatically gone. So that's why yellows are always really good for this one. Similar there, when they get fired, you can just like call them back. It's not a big deal. So you just want to hit like all the objects you can. Yellows are also really good because you can throw them up quite high onto this guy. Just latch onto anything you can really there. And you'll eventually wear him down. There you go. So the poison attack you do want to avoid if you can. As you're knocking stuff off here, you'll also notice that whatever you knock off stops him from doing that corresponding attack. So now we got rid of poison, he won't be able to poison us anymore. And that's why I've left the electricity one until last, because, well, we've got yellow Pikmin, so they're immune to it anyway. This is sort of the base bit of the enemy, so we can just keep attacking him. Purple's really good for this. And I also wouldn't bother bringing any treasures back until you've actually beaten the boss. There we go. And we've saved Louis. Louis essentially counts as a treasure, so make sure you bring him back. There we go. Alright, so we're out of the cave just in time. I think it was pretty much the end of the day when I went in, so I'm just going to go straight to sunset. Okay, next up. We're heading back to the sort of the very first map. So that was the bottom left one. And we're going to get 100 red Pikmin. Now you might be wondering, I've already 100%ed this map, so why am I going back into it? And the reason is purely purple Pikmin. So if you're ever short on Pikmin, you can use this strategy. I'm actually going to whistle the red ones from the top, and that saves me actually walking the red ones up to this cave. This cave is really good for getting purple Pikmin. So ditch all your Pikmin, don't even bother bringing them through. You just want to go straight down the levels here. And obviously if you like bring your Pikmin, they're just going to slow you down because they'll start like dying and stuff. So that's why you just run down the levels. I'm going to get some white Pikmin as well, just because, you know, I might as well. But the real reason I'm in here is purple Pikmin. Okay, so keep going, just walking down. You don't need to bring your Pikmin with you. And the whole purpose here is I actually do want 100 purple Pikmin, because there's this item that you need to pick up, which is like, its weight is 1,000, so you need 100 purple Pikmin to pick it up. Okay, this is the level I was looking for, level 8. So grab all your reds, chuck them into these flowers. You want to get as many purples as you can. I'm fairly sure there's 3 purple flowers. So every time you do this, you should be able to get 15 more purple Pikmin. And you might as well level them up on this stuff. and then you can just return to the surface like this. Okay. Deposit all your purples and any white Pikmin, get back a whole party of red, and guess what? We're going to do this again. So you actually don't need like 100 Pikmin here. You only need however much you're going to turn into purples. So that's why I've only brought 30 with me this time. But yeah, essentially I'm just going back in here. We will go down all 8 floors again. So you just keep dropping down. Do not bring your Pikmin with you. Get some whites along the way if you want. So that's 15 white Pikmin we can get, and it'll be 15 purple Pikmin we can get. So keep going down. I think it's level 8, which has the purples. There we go. Purple flowers, that's excellent. And you're basically just going to repeat this process until you have 100 purple Pikmin. See there, I'm almost there. I'm sort of running low on red, so I'm actually going to turn some yellows in. But back up to this cave again, and you'll never guess, drop down to level 8. And you want to get some purple Pikmin. Cool, so chuck them in, and then we should have 100 at this point. If you have any less, keep doing that, and this can actually help you get purple Pikmin for, you know, if you're having trouble elsewhere in the game. Okay, top right map. So, I want 100 purple Pikmin, because we need to pick up this special item, and it's the weight right there. So that's worth 1,000. You need all 100 purple Pikmin to pick it up. I'm just going to sort of maneuver up here to take care of this enemy just while I'm waiting for him to deal with the weight. There we go. And you can sort of deal with a lot of these other enemies as well. They're very slow at carrying the weight, so we didn't really waste any time doing that. Alright, once you got this, you can bring all 100 purples up here. You might not need all 100, but just bring them up through this section. Okay, there are still a few enemies in here, but the purple should take them out. It's just good that I've killed some of the enemies, because it just makes it a little bit less dangerous for the purples here. And we had some treasure to grab there, so we're just going to be bringing that back. Just depositing a lot of the purples here. And we're going to get a whole bunch of blues out. So sort of bring your blues across this bit. Let that guy lunge out towards you and then come back. Rinse and repeat. We're then just going to go onto this gate thing here. And there's a little cave there. Sorry, not a cave, like a little plug thing. And we're waiting for that treasure to come back. You can go and deposit all your blues and pick up some yellows if you want. Alright, bring the yellows out this way. And there's a little yellow gate to destroy there. Deal with that enemy there. And there's like a pinecone thing to grab. So I'll bring that item back. Yeah, we're just going to deposit the yellows now. Pick up some extra blues and some reds. Just going to get like a really balanced party of Pikmin with a few more purples. There we go. Alright, now that we've got all those balanced, we're just going to head up here. And we've got another cave to head into. Alright, so we just head through into here. Grab that treasure there. Alright, that's all the treasures. We can head to the next level. Deal with these enemies first. Alright, it's going to deal with this gate here. Got to dig for this treasure underneath. Just try not to get hit by the enemy. There we go. Then we can bring that one back. Now essentially we'll just be waiting for that treasure to come back and down to the next level. Alright, deal with this wind guy. Alright, down to next level. Alright, watch out for this guy in the quicksand as well. And same strategy as what we were using before. Try and get the Pikmin onto its head as it's burrowing out of the ground. That's your best bet. Alright, grab both bits there. When you're ready, just head down a level once the treasure's gone. Okay, you can just head straight down the level here. It's another like watery area, you just got to be really careful. Lure that guy out, hit him with purples. We can get the peanut butter. And we can use some purples here to open this bit up. There we go. Use some blues to help if you want, then we'll head down. Alright, into level 8. Just skip this level. Now this guy has a treasure inside him, so just head down here. Same strategy here, let the purples get flamed, but then call them back really quickly, you should be fine. Or use reds if you're not comfortable doing that. You can also finish him off with the character. A little while ago we picked up like a fireproof ability, so your character can take care of those enemies now if you want to. The enemy regenerates himself, so just kill him whenever he wakes up. Or, you know, bring him back to the ship and then you don't have to worry about that. There we go. Level 10. Lure this guy away from the poison before you throw all your Pikmin at him. Use your white Pikmin to deal with the poison there as well. And then we can go into the next level. This is this really annoying boss here that always rolls on your Pikmin, so do not leave Pikmin on the side of it, they will get rolled on. There we go. Just return all that treasure and then we'll move on to the next level. I got some treasure to grab here. And into the next one. It's another boss enemy here. Notice I'm luring him out of the water first. You don't want to have to deal with water at the same time as fighting the boss. You gotta watch out for his laser. It can be really scary. There you go, wait till he gets close. Chuck some purples on. If you're having trouble hitting him with purples, you can use yellows, they'll go higher. I guess you could use blues as well if you don't want to worry about hitting the water. Bring the treasure back and we'll head down a level. Alright, level 14. Lure the boss out here. Let the boss come to you. You don't want to fight him in the water. There we go. Another treasure to grab. You want a blue Pikmin for that one. And of course there's a spider trying to steal it. Alright, once you got that, you can just head down. Level 15. Alright, purple Pikmin for this bit. We've got some jellyfish to deal with. Now this is the boss arena, so that's why I sort of took care of the jellyfish beforehand. You don't want them hanging around while you're trying to actually fight the boss. There we go. And some treasure to grab out of that. Alright, once you've done that, just open up the exit. There we go. Alright, we're on cave complete. So we're just heading back. And we're going to go to sunset here. Alright, next up we're heading back into the same area we just were. Going to get a whole bunch of purples. And make our way out here. Watch out for any enemies. And there's that mushroom thing we got to grab. So it's going to clear out, wait for him to bring it back. And there we are. And then hopefully at this point we've got every treasure collected. And then we get a lovely 100% finishing cutscene. Okay, so with that, that's going to be the end of the game. Hopefully you've managed 100%. It's a very difficult one. And I hope you found this video useful. Feel free to comment any walkthroughs you'd like to see in the comments. And I'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching.